This is an emergency broadcast. Please stay seated and await instructions.
Who does the Terra Prime Empire call when they've got some dirty work? Special Agent Ayla Rin has accepted a simple reconnaissance mission that quickly evolves into a planet-hopping adventure. And she finds herself at the bottom of a mystery that could end her very life.
We are the Overmind.
Greetings, everyone, from the magnificent, most wondrous JDA healer and delight, nice person all around.
Well, thank you, Saggy Melons. I appreciate that intro. I am delight, most magnificent person all around, whatever they said. I'm sure that was fantastic and super sincere. Hello, everybody. It's been quite a crazy weekend, a drama-filled weekend, as you were. And we are back. And we're not going to talk drama. We're going to talk sci-fi books. Oh, my gosh. And if you guys have found out, poor Vicky is really the victim here. Everybody. Hey, Drake. How you doing, my friend? Paladin Dragoon Rider. How you doing? The Quaff. Arturo. JEC. Tree Goblin. Who else we got in here? Tell your friends. These are really great streams, and we've had wonderful discussions on science fiction books so far, and it's been awesome. So I hope that more people start to watch these, because I like doing this sort of thing. I think it's positive. I like doing positive things periodically. I'm a positive guy, and it'd be nice to have more people tune into that. No, Patrick did not make the list, Andrew. Of course not. Starship Repo is on nobody's list, sadly. Patrick Tomlinson started writing Starship Repo 10 years ago. 10 years ago. And he's still failing. It's amazing. We're talking about some things in science fiction today. Hello, KM. How you doing? John Dacre, thank you for being a channel member. Thank you to all the channel members who are in the chat. I appreciate you guys. Kurt, how you doing? Frogman, how you doing? Good to see you. Glad more people are here. And I've got a couple guests. I got Jay Shiro Finney.
Why, hello there. And yeah, you know, I would have to imagine that Tomlinson has as good a chance of getting on the list as Empress Teresa.
Oof, that's brutal. That's brutal. There's somebody, maybe Tomlinson's on. Oh my gosh, Peter's just a black screen, and he's echoing. It's the worst of all worlds. What's going on here? Disaster.
Oh no, am I echoing?
You're not echoing now, but you got a lot of background noise.
Okay, well let me fix some of that.
Hey Samuel, how you doing? I was looking at something today because there's this guy Jason Sanford, and I'm going to make a video on the topic. And he's a nobody who is a little shit lib. Let's go through his Twitter. I know I'm ruining my stream by talking politics. Nobody wants that. Everybody just wants to talk about books. But it's relevant because Jason Sanford started it. He's a shit lib. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. This guy right here, and look at his little pencil head. Pencil head Jason Sanford is a person who, like 2 years ago, had no following whatsoever. He had like a story or two in analog science fiction. Member of SIFWA, probably made like $200, $300 on book sales in his entire life. Just a total loser who was getting nowhere in the industry. And you can tell why. I mean, look at him. So you gotta. I'm gonna mute you. Oh my God, that go drives me crazy. So he took it upon himself to try to destroy Bane Books. Do you remember this, Jay Giro?
No, I don't actually.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I've got some lore for you guys. So Bane Books has run a forum on their website called Bane's Bar for a number of years, probably like decades. It's been there for. It's one of the original online forums. Have you ever been to Bane's Bar?
Yeah, I've dropped in.
Okay, yeah, I've dropped in a couple times too. I'm not like I've never been like a huge like fan follower of certain authors, so wasn't really my scene. But it is a lot of people's scene. That's great that people like that. And naturally, there's a lot of libertarians and conservatives that gravitate towards Bane Books because Bane Books is like the only publisher out there in the mainstream who doesn't go full, if you were a dinosaur, my love, with their stuff. So every other publisher is pure weird sex fetish garbage, and that's all it is at this point. And they label it as science fiction, which I hope none of our books are in the top 10 here.
Nah.
But Jason Sanford went through these posts, and he found some like speculation about Civil War, and a lot of ex-military guys into Bane, a lot of people who are Civil War enthusiasts into Bane books and things like that. He found some speculation if we went to Civil War because of the 2020 election and all that, and how it was rigged and stolen, and he started like copying these, screenshotting it, calling these people insurrectionists and Nazis and all that. And he made this blog saying that Bane Books is calling for insurrection, calling for extremist murdering, etc. Like they usually, like you see it all the time, right? And so he made this blog on his Patreon, just with these screenshots taken out of context, in order to try to destroy Bane Books. Bane, I'm not going to make Bane out to be heroes. Bane immediately responded by purging their entire forum, freaking out, apologizing, saying they're looking into it. They eventually did put the forum back up, but like they always have kind of a middle of the road weakling response. They're not the best. They're not the enemy. Let's not fight Bane, but they're not fighters either. They want to exist in their space in the mainstream industry. And it's sad to watch that they're still kind of there rather than trying to fight these creeps. But Jason Sanford's blog blew up because of that. So he was a nobody, and suddenly after that, he got a publishing deal. He's got this book here, which I guess is out now. Where is this? Where's my tab? I got too many tabs open. Here it is. Allegedly science fiction. So from what I've read of the reviews, it's actually post-apocalyptic furry porn.
Oh, God.
But it's labeled science. Yeah, I know. So enjoy. Yeah, if that's your thing. So that's what these people do. They just kind of make pornography and then label it science fiction. And of course, naturally, this got nominated for the Nebula Award, right? And the only reason it was nominated was because of this blog and because of the fact that he's attempted to destroy Bane Books. The only reason he has a following is that. And on top of that, now he's nominated as a fan writer for the Hugo Award. The Hugo Award. Now, the fan writer category is literally whoever can write the most salacious blog on the internet about how they hate conservatives gets nominated for these awards. And it's garbage. Like usually File 770, like a gossip and slander website, gets nominated. Camestros Philipton. Do you know who that is?
No.
Oh, geez. You're out of the lore of these people. Man, I got to educate all these folk. Well, he's another shit lib who just like shits on conservatives like for his blog. He's on there also. So this is what you get. You get a publishing contract from Apex Books, which Apex Books is basically, it's one of those small press. So it's like they buy you a cover, they give you like a quick and easy edit that's not much, and then they throw your book up there and they take 50% of your profits. Now, from what I can tell, Jason Sanford has not sold anywhere even near like Justified or For Seaman Country or even The Stars Entwined. So even though he got his Nebula Award nomination, he's playing towards people who are not actually buying books or not actually reading books. And that's exactly what these guys do. They care about the clout more than they care about actually being financially solvent. And I don't know how to change that about the industry. Like clout is a hell of a drug, and it means nothing. And I keep trying to tell everybody it means nothing. Do not care about clout. Do not care about other authors golf clapping for you. It doesn't make you money. It doesn't matter.
Well, how do you mean how to fix this?
Well, I would like for that to not matter, so that people like Bane Books don't get just eviscerated, just for trying to make their own books. I would like those people to be able to exist in peace and not have to have
I
Jason
really
Stanford
think
become a celebrity because of that.
The only way that we can solve that really is for these companies to do what more and more companies are doing, and take the Jared's Razors route. Just say, hey, screw you. These are the books we write, or that we buy.
What's up, brother? How you doing, Jonamus Prime? Good to see you.
Did we lose John?
You cut out. You roboted, or I might have been lost for a second. Was I lost?
No, I just really. There's no point apologizing. There's no. Well, now we're seeing your crotch.
I'm sorry. I had to get water. It was behind my monitor. I can't. Is it my internet cutting out or yours? I can't tell. Is it Jay Ishiro or is it me? Chat. Is it my internet cutting out? Uh-oh. Peter's back. I hear the background noise.
Okay, I'll turn that off. Oh, by the way, Jeremy's Razors, I got my first set and I shaved with the
it's Ishii.
Satisfaction of knowing that there were people, woke monopolists, gnashing their teeth and chanting, "What are you going to do about it, punk?"
Yes.
The answer is, I'm going to buy Jeremy's, and you should too.
Hey, Rex, how you doing, brother? Good to see you. Okay. So Jay Ishiro is gone. So Peter, did you hear my rant about Jason Stanford and his being a minor internet celebrity for trying to libel Bane Books, basically? Were you there for that?
Yes, I was listening to that, and thanks for cluing me in. Hey, is the background gone?
It's still there, but you're all right.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, all right. So you get a minor internet celebrity. He'll get a publishing contract with a minor publisher. And he's going to go nowhere. He's not going to sell very well. Welcome back, Jay Ishiro.
Yeah, we'll see if my connection holds up.
Okay. And you don't make money off this, and I gotta keep hammering that over and over. Moreover, you're not going to win a Nebula or Hugo Award about this. You'll get the nomination. It'll be your consolation prize. That's your golf clap that you get from the industry. You'll get nominated. Congratulations, Jason Stanford. Good work with talking about those Nazis at Bane Books. But you'll never get the award. And there's a big reason why. You can tell there's a reason Jason will never actually win the award. And it's because he's white. And the Hugo and Nebula Awards are very little other than attempts to give awards to minorities at this point so they can golf clap for themselves about how virtuous they are. So unless Jason can severely get some melanin here, like inject himself with some melanin, maybe put on some blackface, and change his name to like Shakifwa Wakanda, he's never going to actually win the Hugo Award. So, Jason, get on that. If you want to win, you got to do what it takes.
And do you even need a Hugo? I mean, they're meaningless now.
Yeah, I muted you again, Peter, because you got your echo going again. No, even at that point, like, it doesn't do much. I think it does. I think the Hugo win does give you some residual book sales a little bit when it gets announced. But the nominations don't really. And that's about it. But whatever. Jason did it for the clout, and that's it. Oh, he has to come out as bisexual. I think it's pansexual now. I don't think you're even allowed to say bisexual even more. I don't know.
Well, putting on a dress didn't seem to do a whole lot for Scalzi.
It didn't. Oh well. I have a question for the chat, which is related to books, and maybe you guys want to go on this with me. I saw this come up. This is from the Library of American Comics, and I actually really like the guys who run that. They're good people. And they're very much into comics history, and they publish a lot of cool stuff. I got my Flash Gordon serials from them, and I got my Spider-Man the newspaper strips, which Stan Lee did Spider-Man newspaper strips with John Romita Jr. In the late 70s, early 80s, and they're not really collected anywhere else. And so I love that, and those are out of print, so good luck finding either Flash Gordon or that from Library of American Comics. But they've got this Terry and the Pirates collection coming up, in which they've restored Terry and the Pirates. These are like big Sunday page-sized books, and I'm wondering, it's pretty expensive. It's going to be a 13-volume setup where they come out with 4 volumes a year. Now, it's $100 a book because these are big, giant, beautiful hardcovers. But if you buy them in this pre-order package like this, it's down to like $55 a book. So should I do it? Is Terry and the Pirates good? I've never read it.
Same. I haven't. I don't know.
1935, Enter the Dragon Lady. That appeals to me. So, what do you think, Peter? Have you read Terry and the Pirates? Do you know anything about it?
I've heard of it. It's old comic books. You should do it because
I should do it.
It's history. You should do
Yeah.
it. It's history. It's one of the early ones. People in the know it. Absolutely. It's like Buck Rogers. It's like after Buck Rogers, and you probably ought to read Buck Rogers just to see what it was like.
Okay.
And
well, I mean, if you tell me to do it, I have to do it.
Yes, I'm telling you that you have to do it. Hey, how's the echo now?
It's gone finally, thank God. So
okay, good.
It was driving me crazy. All right.
I can tell. You're not that far
today.
from crazy. I don't know that we have to actually drive you there. I think a quick poke would probably put you over.
True. So this is cool stuff. I'll put that link in the chat, but don't blow all your money on this. You should blow all your money on Overmind
Hookers
first,
and drugs. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Overmind, then hookers and drugs. Then hookers and drugs.
I don't know what number I just put in here. How did that happen? Is that a real thing? 8? I hope that's nothing important. Where'd that even come from? I just put this in here. Oh, I bet you. Hold on. I bet you that's the last numbers of this URL. Yep. That's weird. Okay, so the URL is not even working for that. My bad. Because it went into 2 messages. Oh, well. Well, you can find it. Terry and the Pirates if you want it. But Overmind's right here. This is my graphic novel. I played the video at the beginning of this, and I played a little sketch drawing from our artist, Miss Crimson, who's a wonderful, wonderful lady, beautiful person, and beautiful artist. And we've got it up. We hit $15,000 over the weekend, so thank you very much. Huge stretch goals involved with that. We get there's a bunch of you get a trading card now. You get a short story I wrote revealing her origin. You get Flying Sparks Volume 1. I think I'm going to put another stretch goal up at 17,000 to give the full Cosmic Warrior out to everybody too, because Cosmic Warrior didn't get enough love, and I want more people to read it. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to give people a bunch of free comics because we have a ton of comics. I've come out with more comics than like anybody in independent comics through crowdfunding over the last couple of years. 36 issues in all. So you can trust that I know what I'm doing at this point. I'm making great science fiction. And moreover, there's a full novel with this. So if you're not a comic reader, you don't even have an excuse. You've got your echo back. I'm going to mute you again. Oh my gosh. Terrible. And here it is. Here's the digital pack. You can get both the graphic novel and the novel for digital right here. But if you just want the novel, if you just read novels, here you are. Nobody just wanted the novel. A lot of people wanted both. Yeah. Okay. Everybody wanted both. But if you don't read comics and you just read novels and you want a physical novel, here you go. It's right here. You have the option for that. I try to service all of my customers, try to get everybody who's interested in reading different ways of doing so. And it's awesome stuff. So please back today. Let's get further. I'll put it like 17,000 for the Cosmic Warriors so that everybody gets free comics to go with it as well. Gosh, I could throw in Justified now. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll throw in books. I don't know. I keep throwing in more and more books as this goes along. If you guys want to read things, no, that's not my credit card number. That's it. You're cringe, Queenie. Get off my show. No, you're not on my show. That's it. Quaff says he just got the comic because he needs my pictures. It's true. Pictures are a good thing. especially in today's society. The Quaff drew a beautiful, beautiful fan art of my character Ari Loren for the book. Here it is. Good work in the style of Shotgun Samurai. Maybe she's gonna go. Maybe she'll go and blow up Shotgun Samurai because she's got a ray gun, and that defeats Shotgun. maybe I'll make a story where she just kills the Shotgun Samurai, and then Quaff can sue me for stealing his characters. He could DMCA strike me and get me banned because that's what people do these days.
Nah, the
All right.
Quaff doesn't cry like a little bitch.
That's true. The Quaff does not cry like a little bitch. All right. So without further ado, we'll get to our top 10 not graphic novels, science fiction novels of all time, not graphic novels. Even though Jay Ishiro did put comic books on the list, which I resoundingly, roundly criticized him for. Roundly, that's the word. I said a word the other day that was what I mean. I can't remember, but oh well. It's hard to say the right words. That's why I get in trouble on the internet. Sometimes you say colored people instead of people of color, and then your career's over.
I just don't care anymore.
All right, Peter, your number 10 science fiction novel of all time. We're getting into the best stuff, stuff everybody should be reading. What do we got? He's muted. Peter, you got to unmute yourself when you talk. Are you talking?
Can you hear me?
I just
Oh,
unmuted you.
God.
I don't know what you did.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, sweet jumping Jehoshaphat. So I was going to say, I say we didn't start it, and you say what? You say the fire.
I
Right.
was going to say the fire.
Because
was
it's always been burning since the world's been turning. It was Hemingway, Eichmann, Stranger in a Strange Land, Dylan, Berlin, Bay of Pigs Invasion. Do you have any idea what I'm quoting right now?
Yeah.
What am I quoting?
Well, I think aren't you quoting what Billy Joel or
Billy Joel, we didn't start the fire. Thank you very much. And I'll tell you one thing before I take a ration of shit from John Della Rose about having pervy science fiction in my top 10. When you have a book that is a top 10 rock ballad, mentioned in a rock ballad, then you can talk. This is the book that marks Heinlein's turn from young adult great novels to pervier and pervier science fiction. And after last week and the Moon is a Heart. Am I still on? Oh, great.
Go ahead. You're good. You're good.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on here. It's like my system is falling apart. After the debacle last week where I realized I ranked Moon as a Harsh Mistress too low, I started wondering, why did I do this? Why did I rank Stranger in a Strange Land higher? And so I had to come up with some kind of an apologetics for it. Okay, first of all, does everybody know the plot line? Has anybody actually read Stranger in a Strange Land? Maybe it's just
I have. Yes.
Okay. And you probably thought it was like getting your teeth drilled, right?
No, I thought it was interesting at a lot of points, and then I thought, what the heck is his weird like diversions into like weird cult shit going on? There's weird sex cult shit going on. So it was back and forth. Like, so there were parts where I was like, wow, this is interesting, and then there were parts where it's like, whoa.
It was the 60s, man. You had to be there. Okay, so basically,
yeah, that sounds like boomer shit.
You've got Valentine Michael Smith. He's born on Mars, this second or third expedition, and by right of conquest or inheritance, he inherits Mars, and he's been raised by Martians because in the early 60s or mid 60s, it was still possible to think that we were going to have intelligent life or any life on Mars. So it's really an interesting 60 years how things have changed. Anyhow, he comes back. He comes to Earth with the philosophy and knowledge of the Martians, and starts teaching Martian philosophy which involves, grokking things, understanding their essence. And it is it has a story here. It does have a plot line. It's got interesting characters in it, and it is, I guess you could say, it is an extended parody farce directed at Mormonism or evangelical, Pentecostalist type, because Valentine Michael Smith sets up a religion on Earth that's involves Martian philosophy. So why did I, so it was a fun read. I enjoyed it. I read it when I was in my teens multiple times. But I think the reason I ranked it higher is because of the character Jubal Harshaw, who is this rough lawyer doctor, and he just has all these aphorisms that are just quintessential Heinlein, the kind of get bent kind of statements. Like, I'm going to give you a couple of quotes here. He says, "A desire not to butt into other people's business is at least 80% of all human wisdom." Another one, "Secrecy begets tyranny." Another one, if you've got the truth, you can demonstrate it. Talking doesn't prove it. Another one, "I do know that the slickest way to lie is to tell the right amount of truth, then shut up." And then, of course, the most famous statement of all from Stranger in a Strange Land: "He's an honest politician. He stays bought." And it's funny, but that last one I use that periodically, and I probably don't even remember now where I got it from, but it's just a quintessential curmudgeon Heinlein, and it's a fun story. It does have some insights on religion. It's very much a universalist approach to religion, where all religions are true in their own way, and heaven is set up where it has all these divisions, the Mormon division and the Catholic division and whatever division. And you can object to that, certainly, but that's what Heinlein was writing. So it's an enjoyable read, and you can just mine it for some nice curmudgeonly aphorisms from Jubal Harshaw, and on top of that, it's an influential book. People outside of science fiction know it. It got into Billy Joel songs, so that's my defense. On the other hand, from here it becomes, oh gosh, what is it? The one where the brain transplant of the old man into the young girl.
Oh, yeah. I Will Fear No Evil.
I Will Fear No Evil, and then it gets even worse after that. So it's a quick slide all downhill from here for Heinlein.
Oh, Time Enough for Love's not your number one?
I love that, but no, you're right. No, not Time Enough.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
The Family That's Immortal. What's that one?
Oh, Methuselah's Children.
Excellent.
That's a good book. It's a good book.
Predates Stranger in a Strange Land, but no, Time Enough for Love. I remember that was one of the books where I bought it as a teenager with my allowance, and I felt a great betrayal. I go, what did I do?
What happened here?
You let me down, Robert Heinlein.
Gosh, the degenerate. Oh, man. Yeah. Okay. All right, Jay Ishiro's not here, so I'm going to pretend to be him for a second. I don't have a good... I'm Jay Ishiro.
What is
I will talk. I am a very smart person, and I will talk like this. That's not a very good impression, but...
There's lots of time in every boy's life when he must be handed a copy of The Caliphate by Tom Kratman.
Tom Kratman's
it has
a badass.
Elements. I don't know anything about this book, so what is it?
It's military science fiction, but let's see.
This is the one where Europe is taken over.
Yeah.
By the Muslims. Yeah.
Demography's destiny and the 22nd European deathbed demographics have turned the continent over to a more fertile Muslims. Atheism in Europe has been exterminated. Homosexuals are hanged, stoned, or crucified. Wow, this sounds like a great society. Oh, wait.
So not so much science fiction as reading.
In Minecraft. Yes.
Reading our newspapers from Paris right now, right?
Yes. Such Christians are relegated to dimitude, a form of second-class citizenship They're denied arms, denied civil rights, denied a voice, and specifically denied via Quranic jizya. Their sons are taken and conscripted as soldiers, while their daughters are subject to the depredations of the continent's new masters. That sounds pretty badass. So, Allah Akbar, says Rex.
I just don't see Jay Yashiro using the term badass.
Yeah, no, I don't see that either. This is actually a prophecy, that is coming true in continental Europe, and this is a warning sign for the future that could be if we don't fight back. There, that sounds a little more like Jay Shiro, but it's badass. And Tom Kratman's a badass. I've hung out with the guy. He's awesome, and yeah, that's all. That's all I got to say about that.
Okay.
My number 10. This will surprise you. I think it'll surprise you, Peter. 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Oh my word! I am surprised.
Yes.
Isn't that a bit intellectual for your typical oeuvre?
It is. I'm usually much more of an action-packed kind of guy, but I was enamored with this. I really thought the whole, going through time with the obelisk and like the seeding of civilization and all that was really cool and an interesting concept. And I enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed 2010 and 2000. I think it's 61. Is that the third one? 2061. It's 2060 something. 61. Yeah, a little better, honestly, because that's when humanity really branches out to start exploring worlds and dealing with that. In 2061, especially, they end up in at Europa, around Europa's Saturn, I think. Yeah, and there is it's like an ice planet, and there's these creatures living under the ice and all. It's really cool, and so I like that sort of thing. But this paved the way for that, and this definitely was influential. Obviously, Stanley Kubrick thought it was awesome and made his really cool movie out of it. And moreover, Jack Kirby took this. Jack Kirby was very into this. Do you know who Jack Kirby is, Peter?
He is a comic illustrator guy.
Correct.
He did Spider-Man.
No, he did not do Spider-Man. Get off my show.
He did Superman.
He did the Fantastic Four and Thor and the Avengers and Captain America. So he was really into this. And he actually did in the 70s a Marvel Treasury edition where he adapted 2001 into comics. And it's beautiful with the Jack Kirby art. It's one of the coolest things I've ever seen. They've never been able to reprint it. And the Treasury editions are big, giant art, too. Never reprinted because they don't have the rights to it. And really cool. I've read it recently. And then he elaborated on it. He started his own 2001 spin-off series where he was showing mankind dealing with the obelisk throughout time, and really cool stuff. And again, those have never been reprinted either. So huge influence through culture. Everybody's heard of 2001, much like everybody's heard of Stranger in a Strange Land. So I think that's why I put it as my number 10.
More people have heard of 2001.
More people know 2001, for sure.
It had a great but confusing, making no sense movie that was like, the last part of it was like dropping LSD, or so I've been told.
Yeah, the book doesn't really have that vibe to it. It's very, you understand it in the book. So I would recommend the book over the movie.
2001 years after I saw the movie. The movie made no sense. The book actually explained what was going on with the space baby, saying at the end something like, he didn't know what he was going to do now, but he would think about it, right?
Yes.
And of the movies, my dad really liked 2001, but I like the next one with Roy Scheider in it. It was more science fiction-y. It was more straight narrative that made sense and a plot line and that type of thing. So I haven't read the other books, but in terms of the movies, the sequel was better, I think. Of course, what really made 2001...
I agree with you, actually. Yeah.
What made 2001 such a great movie was the special effects to show space travel, being on the moon, being in zero G, and then at the end they dropped acid and had a bunch of flashing lights.
Right. Impossible to understand the movie without the book. Yes, I agree.
Mr. Solomon is correct.
Yes.
Right.
All right, moving on to the number 9 of the top 10 science fiction novels of all time. Here's your pick, Peter. James
Okay,
Blish.
so I was really worried. This is another one I thought I had to come up with an apologia for to try to sell it to you and
Okay.
other people. And what was weirdly, I was watching a review, science fiction review site called Book Build, and this guy was reviewing 5 books, and he got to his favorite book, and it was Case of Conscience. And this guy is like an average guy giving a review, and I said, well, hell, if he gets it, I can't be that far off. So this was James Blish again. I was hoping Jay Ashiro would be back for this one, but so this book.
We might have lost him for the whole stream. I hope not.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
This book kind of made me the Catholic I am. So the idea is that it's in the 21st century, and we have interplanetary travel. And this book was written in the I think the 1950s as 2 parts. And the 1958 was when this book was written. And you have a team of 4 people are sent to this planet, which is inhabited by intelligent reptiles who go from eggs in a marsh, and they go through all the stages of progression of embryology to these intelligent reptiles. And the idea is, should we invite them into the human civilization, and they've got it's a very different culture. They handle things like jet propulsion differently. They have the ability to communicate over interstellar distances with this tree that has roots that go into the planet, and I don't know what they do, but basically it's the Cameron, I suspect, ripped off the tree for his movie Avatar. In any event, so the team votes, and one of the explorers on the commission is a Jesuit priest, and he votes against allowing the planet to become associated with Earth on religious grounds. He points out there's no sin here. There's no crime. Everything is rationally ordered, and they're all atheists. He goes, this is a setup. This is a put-up job. This isn't a real planet. This planet was invented so that humans would be led to believe that God is not necessary. Okay, and that's the first part of the book. And then the second part, they take one of these Lithians, the planet is Lithia, back to Earth, and he starts. It's sort of like again, like Stranger in a Strange Land. Earth has had, instead of having a nuclear arms race, they've had a bunker race where all these cities have buried themselves into the earth in case of a nuclear war. And so the population pressure is high, and they're living out away from the environment. They're under a lot of pressures. People are just going crazy and having mass shootings or whatever the equivalent is. And this Lithian gets dropped there and starts preaching his Lithian philosophy. And the result is that humanity starts to states under pressure begin to break down, and riots are developing. And the priest has gone to Rome to explain that his belief that Lithia is a put-up job. But the problem is, and this is where the book is great, the book is intellectual. The book will actually educate a person. Sorry, pardon me for saying that. And the problem is, John Delarose, you're a Catholic. What is the problem with the idea of the devil creating, or Satan creating, a planet in order to lure mankind away from God?
The devil doesn't create; the devil just destroys. So
the devil has no creative power. So the priest, Father Sanchez, is advocating for something called Manichaeanism, and that's a problem. And so the Pope says, you're not a priest anymore, but I'm going to leave you one ability: exorcism. And so the book goes to the climax where, and I won't get into it, but it's a great to me as a fledgling believer, it was a great ending. I'm going to read something from the book to kind of give a feel for what it's about in terms of, and why you might want to read it if you're a believer. They quote, and this is the priest talking to himself or thinking as he's making a decision about whether or not to exorcise the entire planet of Lithia. He goes, quote, "These days, most sick children recovered in a day or so after a shot of spectroxidine or some other drug, even from the brink of the terminal coma. Question, has prayer failed and temporal science wrought the recovery? Answer, no. For prayer is always answered, and no man may choose for God the means he uses to answer it. Surely a miracle like a life-saving antibiotic is not unworthy of the bounty of God. And this too was the answer to the riddle of the great nothing. The adversary is not created, except in the sense that he always seeks evil and always does good. He cannot claim any of the credit for temporal science, nor imply truthfully that a success for temporal science is a failure for prayer. In this, as in all other matters, he is compelled to lie." Close quote. And for me, when I was 16 or 17 and wrestling with atheism and wrestling with faith, and reading this, I went, it was revelatory. It was science and faith weren't in opposition. God works through science. And what the funny thing is Blish is an atheist. That's why I wish Jay Ishiro was here. Blish was an atheist, and he was right. He wrote one of the most Catholic science fiction books in all of history. This is part of a quartet of books that Blish loosely put together called After Such Knowledge. And then two of them were mentioned by your commenters last week or 2 weeks ago. One of them is after Judgment, the day after Doomsday, right? Black Easter. Black Easter involves these arms dealers, monks who summon angels, and the apocalypse, where God does not win. And then the day after Judgment is the sequel to that. And they're downers as books, but they're very thought-provoking. The reviewer I saw yesterday says, Blish has a way of getting in under your skin and asking some questions and making you think about these things. And it really did for me when I was 17. So
nice.
It's not for everybody, but it's good enough for some. So I recommend it highly.
Awesome. Jay Ishiro's number 9 is Harlan Ellison's Blood's a Rover.
That's a good
And I've not read this one, and like usual, Mr. Hipster Jay Ishiro, look at this. Look at this. He can't even buy it. That seems to be the trend with him. And I don't know anything about it. What's the story behind this, Peter? Do you remember?
Okay, so this is Harlan Ellison. This is based on his Nebula Award-winning story from like 1969 called A Boy and His Dog. It's a post-apocalyptic thing. Civilization has been wiped out by a nuclear war. On the surface of the planet, people are rovers, solos, or in gangs. They go around looking for food and women to rape. And the hero of the story is Vic, and he has a dog that's intelligent and telepathic. This got turned into a movie starring Don Johnson. Yes, Mr. Melanie Griffin, circa 1980-something, which was not really a great movie, but it's fun. It was fun in the sense that it was a real science fiction movie with Jason Robards, and they want Vic to impregnate the women down under because civilization has retreated under the planet where it's safe from radiation. It's a really jagged book that's on the edge. It's very edgy. It's a dangerous, nasty, harsh, and cruel world that Vic and Blood live. I read it when I was 13, and it was, it taught me a lot of dirty words.
Sounds like Harlan Ellison. All right. My number 9 is bound to piss Peter off, and this is exactly why I put it in my top 10. It deserves to be here, I think, and here we go. Star Wars Heir to the Empire. Yes. Yes. Yes, by Timothy Zahn. I can see Peter melting. Yes.
Yeah, you backslid.
Oh man, this is a game changer for books in general, and it is the Singular most interesting and most readable and most important property IP based book out there. For sure. It's so good. I can read this over and over and over and over again. The character of Thrawn is probably my favorite science fiction character, period. And it takes place right after Star Wars, those 3 movies. And it continues along. Of course, naturally, just because they fought a battle and destroyed that, Death Star thing, doesn't mean that the Empire's on, doesn't mean that their influence over thousands of planets is completely obliterated. That doesn't make any sense. And so Thrawn takes the remains of the fleet and is trying to hunt down Luke Skywalker and his merry band of rebels. And they come up with some cool concepts, like there's these creatures that actually stop the Force from working. They come up with the character of Mara Jade, who is going to be kind of like the next sort of incarnation of the Jedi. It was just beautiful stuff, and unfortunately, Disney didn't use any of this material in the making of their shitty new trilogy. They really should have, because all they had to do was make this book the movie, and it would have been the greatest movie of all time. It would have been that simple. But, oh well, they couldn't do it. Disney ruins everything. Peter's recoiling right now. Oh my gosh.
I was going to say,
great.
I know Zahn has written real science fiction books, right?
Yes. We were just talking about the Icarus Project, which is a great series in and of its own right. Yes. Yeah. Well, not on here. I mean, on Twitter we were, but good stuff. Yeah. He's a really good writer. He was writing I just read his, he had a novella which he self-published for the first time a couple years ago. And it was about like space pilots, and like pilots had to have this sort of connection in order to go through hyperspace. And there was something there in hyperspace, of course. It was really interesting. I liked it. So, yeah.
Well, he's making a living, and that's good.
Hi, this is more than a living. This is the number 9 greatest science fiction book of all time, Peter. Now let's move on to your number 8.
Can't argue with you there.
I got the wrong link. Dang it. Okay.
This is a great
because
book.
you put the same link twice. So it's Mutant.
So
Who's Mutant by?
me. All right.
Mutant.
Is it Mutant? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Who's the writer?
Henry Kuttner.
Yeah, there we go. Okay. Oh, look at this. Atomic? Is this it?
It's the top one. It's Mutant.
Top one? Was it Lewis Paget?
This one is ascribed to Lewis Paget. Lewis Paget was one of Henry Kuttner's pen names.
Okay.
I don't know if it was him and his wife C.L. Moore, or just him alone. In any event, another nuclear war, post-apocalyptic. Society was not wiped out this time, thank God. But instead, it was severe enough to put radiations that there was a mutation developed where children were born bald. And if that's not bad enough, they were born telepathic. And so this is a fix-up novel of 4 or 5 stories that chart the development of the Baldy human conflict over time, as the Baldy start out as a distinct minority, children and families, and then they become their own culture, and then they become obviously more threatening to humanity, which tries to come up with ways of protecting themselves from having their minds read and that type of thing. So this is first of all, Henry Kuttner was a great writer, just a great writer. And in this one here, I think it was written in the 1950s, he's exploring racial prejudice. You want to talk about the beginning of the X-Men. This is the beginning of the X-Men. Professor Xavier, if you would. And the stories are well written. They invariably deal with the problem of how does a normal person compete or fight or something against a telepath. And then how does the telepathic mutants and the human beings come to live in harmony together? It's sort of like the X-Men, isn't it? Really, when you think about it.
It sounds like it. Yep.
Yeah, and Henry Kuttner again. What's interesting there's a lot of things interesting about Henry Kuttner. He knew H.P. Lovecraft. He was part of the circle around H.P. Lovecraft. I think that's where he met C.L. Moore, and so he had some Lovecraftian stories that weren't as good as his other stories, but if you get a chance to read Henry Kuttner, Lewis Paget, C.L. Moore, and I forget what they went by when they wrote together. Maybe it was Lewis Paget. Then pick it up. And
Okay, this is my speed. I could tell. So I probably will pick this up.
yeah. Well, and also whenever the woke will say, "Let me give you a story about how blacks have been oppressed and science fiction has never dealt with it." Well, science fiction was dealing with racial discrimination back in the 1950s. So
I mean, even like Slan was similar. So
Slan was
Yeah.
similar, and probably
Yeah.
Kuttner was ripping off of Slan too.
that's what I figure.
Yeah, it's all floating
fun.
around.
Yeah. All right, Jay Ishiro. This is another one in which I would have judged him about. All You Need Is Kill. This is not a manga, but it is a Japanese light novel that became an anime, and that's probably why it's this high on his list. Great anime. I've never read the book, so I can't really speak much to it, and I guarantee
I've
Peter
read
doesn't.
the book, seen the
Have
movie,
you?
and posted a review. Yes, I watched.
Did you like it? I'm surprised, actually.
I was
So-
surprised. I was surprised too. It's Tom Cruise's. They changed it a couple different times.
What's the name? What's the name called?
The name of the Tom Cruise movie is, somebody put it in the comments. It's Live, Die, Repeat.
Live, Die, Repeat. I
And
don't
then
think
they
I saw
changed
that.
it. It's the one. There's an alien. It and the book. Alien species is attacking
Edge of Tomorrow. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Edge of Tomorrow.
I did see that.
And they're winning battles. They can't be defeated. And it turns out the reason why is because they have some kind of time travel ability that our hero cuts into. So in essence, all you need is kill. I enjoyed the movie enough where I said, I wonder how that compares to the book. And the book is basically a video game. The movie is basically a video game.
Yeah.
It's well done enough with enough good ideas in it that make it captivating. I think I gave it 5 stars.
Wow.
In fact, if you go down, maybe.
Maybe it's on here because you're a top whatever Amazon reviewer.
Yeah.
Peter S. Bradley,
Oh my
look
God.
at this. 3
Okay, I gave it
stars.
3 stars. Sorry. Well, but I figured it did everything it was supposed to do. It wasn't. I didn't think it was so.
That's vicious.
I
3
didn't think
stars.
it was- I
Wow.
didn't think it was really special enough. But on the other hand, it did everything it was supposed to do, and I enjoyed the going. It was a page turner, and I love that.
Yeah.
I love page
That's-
turners. And I did give
Well,
it
you
3
apparently
stars.
didn't love it. You just
I guess I did
mildly
not
liked
love
it.
I did not
Yeah.
love it as much as Jay Ishiro did.
All right, my number 8 is you're gonna be like, wow, when I put this one on my list. It's gonna be quite the opposite of your reaction to Thrawn. And it is my final installment by Mr. Paul Anderson, who's one of my favorite authors of all time. And do you want to make the Paul Anderson guess based on what I put on?
Can
Again,
you give me any kind of hint at all?
let's see. Well, it's not Ensign Flandre because I already put that on the list,
We know
and it's
that.
not the High Crusade because I already put that on the list.
Okay, is it in the Polysotechnic universe?
No.
It's not in the Polysotechnic universe. That doesn't narrow it. Brainwave. I'm gonna go Brainwave.
You're gonna go Brainwave. That's a good book, but no, I'm gonna go Fire Time actually. So
No, that's Polysotechnic. That's a
no, it's not. It's its own. No, it's not. It's a completely separate deal. There's only two books. It's this and the Star Fox. They're separate.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's not, there's no Flandre in it.
Oh, I thought there was. My mistake.
No. Yeah. It's very similar. I mean, there's a human military colony, and there's this like group of space centaurs, and they live on this planet, and it's kind of like a human observational colony. And there's like periods where this planet like flies too close to the sun, and everything just kind of burns. And these centaurs like have this like innate ability to just like get out of it and get into cover, and the humans kind of get trapped out there with them. It's pretty cool. Really good stuff, and it's framed in they're filing a military report about this place and about what happened of it as a bookend. So really neat stuff. I couldn't put this down. I thought this was some of the best written stuff. I thought the Space Centaurs. It is horses again. God damn it. Oh man. Oh, I did it again. Shoot. But it's really good. This cover is horrific. I love the 70s cover. Let me see if I can find the 70s cover because this is trash. Where's the 70s cover? It was awesome. Where did No, I'm not going to be able to find it on Amazon. Fire Time, Paul Anderson. Amazon only sells the one that's like available currently because they want to sell things. This was a cool one right here. This was like the original cover. Here's your Space Centaurs. But the second cover for the second printing is my favorite. I think this is awesome. Look at that. You get the Space Centaurs with all the worlds and the little... That's sweet. Man.
Okay, well, I am picking this up because
You've never read this? Oh, wow.
I need some good time novels. And this sounds like a good time novel.
Yeah, there's a sequel. You're going to get so into it because it's so great. You're going to be like the sequel, the Star Fox. The sequel to Star Fox is really not that good. So don't read it. Is my observation there. But yeah, this. I bought this literally because I saw the cover in the store and I was like, wow, that's cool. They don't make them like that anymore. That's very 1970s. I like the 70s for some things. All right, Peter, to number 7 of all time. I can't dispute that this should be on the list. I don't think anybody should dispute this.
Okay, Dune. I'm assuming that all of you are putting it at number 1 or something. I'm not going to give a plot synopsis.
Yeah, everybody knows it, or you should.
Going to give. It's a kind of book you read it and you start thinking like a Fremen. Here's my own personal experience.
I think Jay Ishiro already had it higher on. I think he was in his 11 through 20, as I recall.
It surprises me. I would think Dune would be a top 5 book for most people. Anyhow, for me, I remember as a teenager, I read Dune Messiah first. I think I heard like everybody's talking Dune. Okay, so I read Dune
he had it
Messiah.
at 28. Wow.
But then he also caveats by saying, well, I wasn't really trying to put them in ranking. I was just putting them together randomly. Okay, so I read Dune Messiah first, and I don't know how to put it except to say that Dune Messiah is, in general, a piece of crap book. I mean, It's really complicated. I mean, it takes the Dose Sedai experiment and really runs with all of the...
Why did you read that first?
I don't know. It was in the library.
Okay.
I read Dune Messiah. Hey, I was 14. I didn't know any better, okay? And so then I went, well, that just sucks. I'm never reading Dune ever in my entire life. That bites. And then Analog had a serialization of Children of Dune. And it came out in 4 segments. And the first 3 were so good. I went, what am I doing? I need to go back and read Dune. And I went back and read Dune, and it blew my mind. And then the 4th segment of Dune, Children of Dune came out, and the answer was a midget in silly putty. And I lost, if I'd have read the 4th installment, I would never have gone on to read Dune. But Dune is Dune's a great book. It's so well crafted and so in depth in its cultural development and historical development. There's a reason why it's now in its 89th sequel, The Master Bakers of Dune. Anyhow, am I left alone here? No.
Yeah, I had to stretch. I've got my sciatic problem. I had to stretch.
Okay.
But that was a very funny joke. The Master Bakers of Dune. I enjoyed that. Dune
number 80.
Yes, by Kevin J. Anderson these days. He said he'd come on the channel at some point, actually. So I'll reach out to him. But it doesn't need any more sequels. And Dune Messiah shouldn't have existed either. Oh, man. Yeah, I was on the same page. Like, I never felt the need to read a sequel for Dune, personally. But I attempted to, and then I gave up. So number 7, for Jay Ishiro, I'm not familiar with. Imagine that. Antibodies by Isaac Asimov. So I've read Isaac Asimov work, but I don't know anything about this one. It says her attempt to break down the barriers between human and machine. The antibodies, members of a secretive cybernetic temple cult, conduct grisly operations to replace the human body with machine parts. That's pretty cool sounding. Oh, this is not by Isaac Asimov. It's just Isaac Asimov Presents. David Skal.
Skal? Okay.
Skal. Yeah,
you got me.
Who that is.
I've never heard of this book or even heard of Isaac Asimov Presents, but good for Isaac Asimov to commercialize himself.
That sounds pretty fun and actiony, like I typically enjoy.
Hey,
and it looks.
Wait a
yeah.
second. Wasn't
Yeah.
Jay Ishiro the one telling us how Isaac Asimov was a communist and trying to
He
impart
was.
ideas? In
Shame.
concept? I can't believe he's sold out like this. And I mean both Isaac Asimov and Jay Ishiro.
Yes, we can shame him here because he's not here to defend himself.
I know.
It's amazing.
I miss that guy. I'd like to know why he put this number 7.
So he sent an email apologizing, saying that his wife is at home from work and they're not able to stream and do this at the same time. And sorry about that, but that sucks. But he just doesn't really get to talk about his book because of that.
Then we can liberally interpret why
Yes.
he chose what he chose.
Because of communism. He loves communists. Yes.
Also, he likes hot blonde women in togas, apparently.
Yes. All right.
He only buys books based on the covers.
My next one is severely out of print, and I can't actually find a good spot for it on Amazon. There's only the novella listed, but there's a full novel, and I don't know why they only have the novella listed. But welcome to Amazon, and it's going to be, you're going to be surprised by this. Stardance by Spider and Gene Robinson.
Oh my god!
Yes.
Seriously?
Yeah, I
This is
love
all
this
about
book.
Dance, literally dancing.
It's a checkbook
Dancing,
again.
Horses, women authors. Is there really
Yes.
something you want to tell us?
This is fantastic. So Gene Robinson always wanted to be a ballet dancer, and that is high culture. I like high culture. That's what it comes down to, and classy things. And she really couldn't. She didn't have the body for it, and so she researched with Spider, and had Spider kind of make this whole sort of dancing troupe in space. Because once you get into 0G gravity, the rules change kind of for how things go. And this lady basically had I think it was back problems or broke her legs or something like that, and could never dance again. Who was a ballet dancer in the book. And so she formed a dancing troupe to go to space, and they make first contact with alien life by doing so. And since dance is a form of storytelling, they actually use their dancing in space to communicate with the aliens. It's pretty cool. So I love this. I thought it was great. I think the sequels are not that great. Somebody who mentioned they're very they really go off the rails a little bit on the sequels. But this is really cool, really different. It's really different. But Spider Robinson is just his prose, just is so good. It's beyond a lot of he could literally just poop on a page, and he would just make it interesting because his prose is beautiful. So, and that's what he does here. But it's not. I
like the scene in this book where she secrets a machine gun and blows apart all of the aliens because she realizes that they're plotting to invade the Earth. Okay, that didn't happen. That didn't happen. And
no.
So here's my question to you,
yes,
John, Mr. Military Science Fiction Action Adventure guy. How did this get to be number 7 on your list?
I just like it. I don't know.
I know. Well,
yeah. It's really cool. It's severely out of print, unfortunately. I was looking this up, and this is just the novella. It's not the full novel. And then I go Stardance Spider Robinson to look it up, and there's an omnibus that has all 3, and it's pretty hard. This is not cheap. And I have this version because I'm fancy. The leather-bound Easton Press version. Yes, that's what I've got. So,
does your wife know you have leather-bound books?
Yes.
For $299.
I didn't buy mine for $299, so good luck with that.
Your wife
no.
loves you.
Yeah. I bought mine for $35, so
okay.
But that's so what I do is I peruse half-price books, and I try to find rare graphic novels and then these leather-bound books, and they have them for $20-30. You don't always find something when you go, but when you do, it's kind of nice. And look, it's a $300 book. I found it for $35. All right, you're number 6, Peter. Oh, I like this book.
Yeah, a little bit. Did you select this one?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Ringworld, I figured it has to be in the top 10 because
I think it was in my
does
top
have-
20. Yeah. Hmm.
it does have a lot of clout, notoriety, and here's the reason. It's really the capstone of Niven's known space trilogy, and so a lot of the different themes and characters come together in this fantastic idea of this ring around a planet that has, I don't know, millions of Earth volume in it, and and you know, and so it's a action adventure tale. There are parts where you might, yeah, I can see your criticism, John, that there are some parts where it does seem clunky. But
Yes.
what helps me is the fact that I can see the backstory behind the story. The puppeteers leaving known space because they can see the oncoming wave of exploding stars, the human Kazin wars, and other things. They've all been explored in previous stories, and in fact, if I remember correctly, did Ringworld have the pack? I don't think so. In any event, so it's well worth reading. It's a classic. It's space opera. It's situated in known space. Go read known space. It's really excellent. Excellent.
Excellent. All right. Yeah, I had this in my top 20, I think. So I've already talked about it. J. Shiro's number 6 is Vert by Jeff Noon. I don't know anything about this book. Vert is a feather, a drug, a dimension, a dream state, a virtual reality. It comes in many colors: legal blues for lullaby dreams, blacks filled with tenderness and pain. Oh my gosh, I don't like the description of this. If this is kind of
porno verse.
Yeah.
Porno verse. The word of bliss. I would have loved to hear Jay describe this book.
Interesting. So
heard of it. The Jeff Noon, that name is familiar.
Let's look it up.
Wait,
Jeff Noon.
I think he pushed another Noon book, didn't he?
Automated Alice House. I feel like we have. Yeah, I feel like he had another one. I don't remember what it was. I don't know. But he doesn't get to describe it because he's not here.
Hey, somebody in the comments, go ahead and read this book and let us know what it's about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That helps. Mine. So we're at number 6. So I'm gonna have two female books. In which you're gonna be like, why do you have more female books on here? Out of my top 6, there's 2 female books, but that's it. So this is one of them, and I don't think you'll criticize this one because this is Lois Master Bujold's. Like, she got into this Miles Warkosigan series, and she started really exploring high sci-fi concepts, and it got crazy real quick. And this is in the middle of those, and she was really just firing on all cylinders with her writing on this one. So this one, like, he like dies and he gets like kind of brought back, and a clone shows up, and then he's got a handler who's got like a memory implant, and that memory implant starts malfunctioning, and the guy like loses his memory, like that's hence memory. And he starts losing he starts going crazy because he just like doesn't remember what was happening, and he's had everything stored in this chip because he had some sort of brain damage. And it's crazy. I mean, this is like it's gut wrenching watching a man lose his mind from his memory. I honestly, like, I don't want to talk too much about this, but I have a family member who's going through Alzheimer's, and it's the most heartbreaking, awful thing ever to see that sort of thing and somebody lose their memory, and they're like It's horrible, and I'm gonna start crying if I start thinking about that too much. But Bujold drills into that and makes that real viscerally in this with that character, and that's why it sticks with me. I think you can't do better than that for prose writing, and it's a beautiful book. That's all.
I've read some of the Miles Warkosigan books, and they're always well plotted. The Miles character is the opposite of a Mary Sue, because the world is stacked against him so badly.
Yes.
And he overcomes by his own virtues of intelligence and perseverance and suffering. really it's a model for how not to do a Marvel movie. I think
It is definitely.
let me just say
God,
this,
I would
mean,
love a movie series based on Miles Morales. Oh, I'm sad that they like waste science fiction like space on like the Expanse and stuff. Like I want this, you know. I don't
Well,
know.
is this the end of the Verkosigan novels? Because it sounds like
No,
they threw them off. Does
it's
he come back?
So what happens is like, yeah, he comes back, and then he's got a clone also,
Oh, okay.
and I think there's one more, and then she starts like, then Bujold stops wanting to write really dark, heavy stuff, and she twists like into romance, and then the Vorkosigan novels kind of become romance novels in space after like one or two more books. I can't
Well,
remember.
She's a chick. That's what
Yeah,
they do.
that's what they do. But during this time, like, I mean, whoa, this is heavy stuff. It's cool. Yeah. So we're about halfway through, my friends. We got 50 people in the chat. I just want to mention that I've got a science fiction novel and graphic novel on Kickstarter right now. We got one new backer over the course of the stream, so thank you guys for doing this. This is Overmind, and if you like what we're talking about, if we seem like we're smart people, you'll probably enjoy what I'm doing here. This is a high action thriller graphic novel. It's about an AI that is manipulating a planet into subservience and into like a cult that worships it. And it's kind of my commentary on how social media's algorithms manipulate what we think. And of course, we have a beautiful redhead with big boobs who goes out and shoots things with ray guns. Totally related to the story. So check it out today. I've got a novel to go with this. The novel's going to have a completely separate story. If you like deep world building and all that, the reason I'm doing the novel is to really flesh the world out so we have like something awesome here. I don't know of anybody who's like building a story with a graphic novel and novel together. Like it's a pretty cool artsy multimedia thing to do. They always say that like, you know, conservatives are never artsy or whatever, but I think I bucked that trend pretty well, Peter. So back this today, check it out, support the channel. If anything, just grab a comic book and have some fun. That's what we're trying to do here, is build some fun. And I appreciate you guys for supporting. I'll play the trailer again because I can. It's my channel.
Who does the Terra Prime Empire call when they've got some dirty work? Special Agent Ayla Rin has accepted a simple reconnaissance mission that quickly evolves into a planet-hopping adventure. And she finds herself at the bottom of a mystery that could end her very life.
We are the Overmind.
And we're back with the top 5 science fiction novels of all time. Everybody hit that like and subscribe button. Leave comments in the chat. Let us know what you think about this. And we're down to Peter's number 5 now. Let's go.
We're getting there. Now, let me say this about your trailer there. There are some scenes where she does seem a bit overdressed.
Overdressed? You want her more naked?
I don't want her more naked, certainly, but I'm wondering about when you have her on that planet where everybody is like, you know, wearing rags and things, whether or not she would want to pass by wearing, you know, rags or things.
Well, there's a reason that she went there in order to meet with the governor of the planet. So she's not, while she's walking through the streets to the governor, she's not incognito at that point.
Okay, well, yeah. Just keep that. So here we go.
Sorry,
This is Stand on Zanzibar, and this was it a Hugo Award winner? Let me check.
Yes, I think so. This is something that I actually would have thought about putting on my list, and I didn't. But I would have thought about it. Yes.
You read this then, huh?
Yes.
Okay. 1968. It's a dystopian novel, and basically the 60s. You have to understand the 60s were all about overpopulation and future shock. Right. The idea was that we were going to overpopulate and drive ourselves into miserable existence. Was it? It's the Soylent Green. It was set in 2020. We're eating people in Soylent Green. And in this one here, it's set in 2010. And the idea about sand on Zanzibar is if you put all the human race on Zanzibar and gave them all like a meter of space, they would be in their up to their ankles around Zanzibar or on the island of Zanzibar. And I think he had the population of the world at that point. He was projecting it to be like the horrific idea of 7 billion people. I think we're up to like 8.5 right now. Which is funny because at the time in the 60s, the world population was 3.5 billion. So 7 billion seemed like a whole bunch. And then the idea was future shock. Things would start changing so fast, you couldn't possibly keep up with it. And you know what? We're living in that world. We just don't even notice it anymore. It happens so often. And yeah,
True.
You read it. What did you think about the style of the book? How it was structured?
I enjoyed it. I mean, I read it, 15, 20 years ago. But I enjoyed it back then. I kind of like these stylistic things from like when they were experimenting with that in the 60s. Typically when I see that, I go, wow, that's kind of neat. And I read things like that. But if I read it today, I might be less impressed with that because now I kind of go through it and I'm like, these hipsters are just trying, I have that more attitude as a 40-year-old.
So how the book is structured is he has these repeating chapters where he'll have something called The Happening World, where it's nothing but newspaper articles from 2010. And then he'll have quotes from Chad C. Mulligan's Hit Crime Vocabulary, something like that. And then he'll have another chapter that will be, and the idea is to show you that it's a kaleidoscopic world. And then he cuts up those things are just like fillers between the story, which is two characters. One is a white guy who has a pattern recognition ability and becomes an assassin, and the other one is a black guy who is trying to help modernize Beninia, which is like Dahomey or something like that. It's a lot of it's got a real sense of the 1960s, but it's set in 2010. Now, here's the thing about the structure. I didn't realize this. I read this when I was 16 or 17. Then I went off to college and I discovered John Dos Passos' USA trilogy, which was written in the 1920s. And in the 1920s, there was also a sense of the world is changing so fast, we can't possibly keep up with it. We have movies now, and we have Telegram, and we have phones, and it's just too much to keep track with. And so Dos Passos wrote the USA trilogy, and I'm reading it, I'm going, hey, Dos Passos ripped off John Brunner. Well, of course, he'd written it 60 years before. So it's got this kind of literary thing going on. But it's a great story, and especially if you keep in mind this idea that it's about how the future is coming at us so fast, and it's all fractured, and we can't possibly keep track with it, kind of like the way it is right now. Here's some interesting things in Stand on Zanzibar, written in 1968. So China is the big threat to the United States. That's number one.
Correct.
There was a president in Africa named Obama, who was elected to the Benin. Okay, so that's a little thing. This is the one that really got to me. He has this phenomena called muckers, Muckers, and these are people who just go out. Overpopulation is so bad, they just go out and start randomly shooting or knifing people till they get killed. It's like suicide by mass shooting, right? And you start thinking, that's almost dead on to what we're dealing with right now. So it's a well-written story. It has some literary pedigree, and it's worth reading. It was a Hugo Award winner at one point in time when that really meant something.
When it meant something. Yeah, this is cool stuff. And, it is a little bit prophetic and interesting. And, it's definitely a bleak future vision, but
it
well
really
done.
is.
Yeah.
Check it out.
All right. Jay Ishiro's number 5 is Hardwired, the complete 30th anniversary edition by Walter John Williams. And I don't know anything about this. So.
I've read this one.
Wow. All right.
It's Walter John Williams, probably his the one he likes the best, certainly. It's the one he always talks about. And if I recall, is this the one with the? It's, oh gosh, it's cyberpunkish. Society has gotten both at the same time far more developed in terms of high tech, and yet also a lot poorer. It's a lot like Cyberpunk. Was it 2077?
Wow.
And so you have the hero of the story. It says Roger Zelazny. It's almost like Death Valley, where you have the main character is transporting goods across the United States by panzers, very just souped up.
Yeah, you're big on this guy because you had him on your list also.
I did, and this is
Yes.
a good one, and so it's all this cyberpunk, high tech, yet criminal, poor people, bleak future stuff. It's well worth reading, and it is Walter John Williams. I think it's his favorite book.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's the one he says, this is the one. This created the cyberpunk genre.
He declined my friend request on Facebook.com, Peter. I'm offended.
I don't know.
Which
is he a bloody wokist? Maybe, who knows?
I don't know. Jay Ishiro said he's a Trump supporter. So, but I don't know why a Trump supporter would decline me. That'd make me sad if that was the case.
Maybe
But
he
I don't know.
Horror stories and
He probably heard that I was a terrible bad person. Doesn't know. So I don't take it personally. But he is friends with 115 of my friends on Facebook. So that's kind of odd too.
What are your friends saying about you?
I don't know. Probably worse things than my enemies are, to be honest. So, so you had a different book on your list. You like that one better than this one.
I I put Aristoy on, and if somebody had said, "What about Hardwired?" I might have put it on. But you know what? I would probably have still ranked them down in the 30s because I don't want to skip. I want to screw around with my 1 through 10.
Let me message him. Hold on. We are doing a top 50 science fiction novels of all time series on my YouTube channel of 6,000 subscribers. Your books were brought up twice. I would love to host you on the show and chat if you would be interested in coming by. Let me know. Let's see if this works. So there we go. I've asked him to come on the show. If he's on both your guys' lists, I should probably bring him on the show. I figure. Yeah. We'll see if he wants.
He has a nice muscular writing style.
So this one's more cyberpunk, and yours was more space opera, as I recall. Is that
right.
correct?
And that would be the difference, because you're noticing that Jay Ishiro is all about the cyberpunk.
Very cyberpunk, and I'm usually more all about the space opera, so I'll probably read that one when I try it.
I would probably read Hardwire. I think. I hate
Really?
to say this. I'm selling myself short, but Hardwire probably is the better book because it's just more gritty and real.
I don't like that though.
Okay, read the other one.
My number 5 is going to be a surprise. This one's going to shock you, Peter. Shock you to your core. Dune.
Oh my gosh! All right. Good. I was worried there for a while that I was. What's wrong?
I think Jay Ishiro put Dune at number 28. And my thought was, what's wrong with you, Jay Ishiro? Why would you put this all the way up at 28? That makes no sense. Every living and breathing person should read this book. There's no reason you shouldn't. And that's my pitch. So you had this at number 7. So I have this pretty close to yours. So we're kind of simpatico there.
Well,
we've already talked about this a lot.
I'm not going to sell myself out. I'm going to say the 3 books that everybody should read should be Dune, Arthur C. Clarke's 2001, and Moon is a Harsh Mistress, or The Foundation.
Yeah.
Notice that's not how my top 5 list goes, but that's what I would say.
Pretty good. Yeah, I agree with that. I don't have a ton to say about it because we've already talked about it like a bunch, and we've talked about Dune. You can watch Edwin Boyette read Dune on his Storytime channel if that's what you want.
Which was better, the book or the movie?
Oh, the book by far.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not even a question there.
Not even quite. I did like the new iteration of the movie, though. I thought it was pretty good.
Hmm. My only
Did you see
problem
it?
with it is it's just too dark. I mean,
Yeah.
physically dark. I mean,
Physical.
we're
I
on a
know, they
desert
really did
planet,
do that.
and it's dark.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, it gets to be night on Arakeen. I get it. Or
Yeah.
Arrakeen, but still.
But
it's
you kind of like, when I envision Dune, when I'm reading it, I envision Lawrence of Arabia level lighting, you know?
yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Also, I'd like to be
So.
able to see what's going on. Personally, that's me. But
That helps. Yeah. They do that in a lot of movies, and it's bothersome. But yeah, decent movie. I'm surprised that they didn't greenlight and like film both of them together. It seems stupid that they didn't, but whatever. Can't control Hollywood. At least they are doing the second part. All right, you're number 4. You just mentioned it.
Foundation. You've
Yes.
got to read this. This is a great book. It's even if it's really a allegory for.
I just
Mark
watched the
Twain.
Apple TV show. It's why do I need to read it? No, I'm just kidding.
I have no idea. I haven't seen the Apple TV.
I haven't
show.
I haven't either, but I'm sure it's horrible.
You've got to read the book. The book is clever. It does have libertarian elements because the first part of the story are the merchant princes who are recolonizing after the empire is broken down. But on the other hand, Asimov is heading toward a galactic-wide second empire with a elite caste that will never be overthrown. So that's disturbing, but it'll be good. We'll all be happy. Everybody will be happy. We'll all do what we're told.
Yeah, no, this is a great book. I've read it, and it reads kind of as like it reads like a lot of Asimov stuff, like short stories kind of mashed together because they're at different times, right, and they kind of form the picture of what's going on galactically over time. But that's pretty cool. It works really well. So good stuff. Jay Ishiro's number 4. What's that?
I was going to say he did work out the ability to give us a sense of a galactic-wide spanning event. Yeah.
Yeah, doing that's difficult. I very narrowly focus things typically because it is difficult to do that. Number 4 was also mentioned by you. This is Jay Ishiro's number 4. The Moon is a Harsh Mistress by Robert Heinlein. Absolutely fantastic book. And of course, I have the leather-bound edition of this one also. And this is the Revolutionary War in space, like a lot of his books are.
Jay Ishiro has a better rating for it than I do. Okay.
Yeah, you were wrong.
I was wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'd kick out in my top 3, but something would have to go.
This is one. It's better than Stranger in a Strange Land, and I mean, I having Heinlein all the way down at number 10 is like just a little shocking, to be honest. Now this does get into a little degeneracy, and that does ruin the book a little bit. We mentioned that before when it was on your list. But they go into this like, sister wives and husband brothers and all this stuff. And it's because Heinlein just wants to, have a bunch of, sex with random strangers. And then that's what Stranger in a Strange Land was all about. It's just a small component of this book, though. The whole situation of Moon breaking away from Earth and, no taxation without representation in space is just brilliant, though. And it just feels good the whole way through. You're cheering for them by the end. It's good stuff.
Can-staffle, baby. Can-staffle.
Yeah.
There ain't no such thing as a free lunch. Well, the thing about the marriage pattern, though, is the idea was that men vastly outnumbered women. And so from a socio-cultural standpoint, it made sense. It was only after you read, what's the one with the old man getting his brain scooped to the younger woman one? It's I will fear no evil. It's only once you read I will fear no evil that you go back to this one and go, what was your real message here, Bob?
Yeah, that's actually true. Yeah, it feels weird in this one. You're like, whoa. But yes, there is a reason for it. And yeah, once he gets into those later books, it's like, gosh, I hate all of it now. My number 4, I'm shocked. I didn't see this on either of your lists. You guys are crazy for not putting this on your list. And this is Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card. This is, again, just like quintessential. Every boy should be reading this. And I don't understand how you didn't put this on here. Defend yourself, Peter.
I was in my 40s when it came out.
Okay. Wow, you're that old? Okay. Well.
Or 30s or whatever. when it was in 20s. But the point is, I would have, if I had read this as a teenager, it would clearly have been on my list. But, by that time, I was probably practicing law and doing all the rest of that type of thing. But so again, the golden age is whenever you're 40. And my books, if you look at it, the last 10, they're all from the 1960s and 1970s. So I was 14 in 1975. So I can easily pick up Stand on Zanzibar was still cutting edge stuff.
This was cool though. You get a military school in space. And it turns out his little video game simulations that he's running over the course of this was actually the real war, and he actually wipes out an entire species of aliens. Genocide, or xenocide as they call it. And crazy. And then having the weight of that at the end of it is like, whoa. You can only imagine if you were responsible for such a thing. But beautiful book. I mean, it's action-packed. Good stuff that I am usually into, as you can tell. Mm-hmm. Let's see. So we're down to number 3 now. We're getting to the real meat. Oh no, you picked this for your number 3? My God, I hate this book.
That's because you don't know what's good for you. Lord of Light, one of the greatest science fiction stories ever written.
Overrated.
Not overrated. Absolutely brilliant writing, brilliant characters. You have something happened to the Earth. Things weren't good on Earth. You had ships the ship from India ends up on this planet with a few non-Indians. They run into a alien race that's mostly like energy beings that are called demons or Rakshasa, and the crew has to learn to fight them, and by doing that they take on attributes and aspects and become Hindu gods, and then they start having children. They also have a reincarnation device where they can move from body to body, so they recreate in reality the India of myth. And a character comes along, Maha Samatman. He preferred to drop the Maha and the Atman and be called Sam. And he decides to rebel against the immortal Hindu gods. And he does that in a variety of ways, not the least of which is by becoming the Buddha and then preaching a doctrine that makes reincarnation less important so that the people won't fear the gods as much. And then there are battles, and there are intrigue, and there are setbacks, and there are victories, and it's all set in this world with Rakshasa demons and Hindu gods with their aspects. Yama, Dharma, god of death; Kali, goddess of destruction; and Sam takes on his aspect of Maitreya, lord of light, who wields the lightnings. It's great stuff, and well and beautifully written. I don't know what your problem with it is, John Delarose.
It was really pretentious and navel-gazing.
Well, each to their own. You should read it again and take the pole out of your butt and read it. It's good fun.
All right. Jay Ishiro's number 3 is A Scanner Darkly by Philip K. Dick. And so he's... Yeah, I've actually never read this one.
There's a movie. You could watch that.
There's a movie. Yeah, you could. So this is again like dark, sort of cyberpunky sort of stuff, and that seems to be what he likes. But I don't know. Philip K. Dick. I can't.
And it's cyberpunk. What more do you have to say?
What more do you need, right?
Yeah.
My number 3 is The Last of My Whammons. And you're gonna you're gonna shit your pants when I put this on here. It's gonna be amazing. All right. The Crystal Singer by Anne McCaffrey.
Oh
Yes.
my God. Oh my
Yes.
God. Is this number 3?
Yes. I love this book. And oh no, I swore. I apologize. This is great stuff. So she wants to be a singer, and she can't because an opera singer, of course, because I'm into the high culture stuff, as you understand. And she can't become an opera singer because she's got a burr in her voice. And so she's going to leave the singing school on whatever planet she's in, and she ends up on this planet where you have to call into the mountain ranges to get these crystals, and these crystals are actually the only way that interstellar communication works across anything. So you have to have 2 matching crystals to have interstellar communication to different planets and all that, and they get those. And there's a problem, though, is that there's these like spores or something in the atmosphere, and you become dependent on this planet and kind of resonate with the planet, kind of like the crystals resonate, and you are trapped there over time. You can never leave. There's another problem with it in that it erodes your memory over time. So you kind of lose your long-term memory the more that you get enthralled with these crystals, and you end up with that. There's also a handsome man in charge of this guild, Peter Bradley, and he's a manly man, and naturally our heroine falls in love with him over the course of this, and it's a very beautiful romance in space.
So it's a romance
Yes.
involving a girl singer. Any horses
Yes.
involved?
No horses. No.
Horses? Okay.
No.
Ooh, I didn't- They recut the story so they focused on the man and how he, rescues her all the time. Well, maybe you'd have something. Hey,
That's
I noticed
interesting.
that the narrator of the audiobook is the great Adrienne Barbeau.
Yeah, good stuff. Now the problem with the audiobook is it's abridged, so it's like a cut of the book. It's terrible, actually. So yeah.
Okay, so here's an interesting factoid to nobody but me. Adrienne Barbeau is actually originally from Fresno, which is where I
Oh,
am.
really?
And she went to Lafayette Elementary School, where I went to Lafayette Elementary School about 10 years ahead of me. So there's the actress who starred in Escape, the greatest movie ever made, Escape from New York, was from Fresno originally and went to Lafayette Elementary School. So
Wow.
that's what I know about her.
The pride of Fresno.
The pride of Fresno. and Cher is also from Fresno, and Cher and Adrienne are both Armenian.
And the cover is done by the great Michael Whalen, who I
he's a
love.
great one,
So yeah.
A great
So he's fantastic.
Can you spot the Michael Whalen signature there somewhere? The little MW in a circle.
Is that on there? Let me see if it's on that. I can't see.
It's always worth trying
What a
to look.
beautiful cover.
He's pretty clever about hiding it.
I don't see it, but it's beautiful cover.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love it. It's I thought it's great. It was originally published. There's a and there was a series of novella books called Continuum, and there were 4 books, and she actually rewrote it. So it's 4 novellas that make a big story. Paul Anderson's also in there with a story in Continuum, and so I bought this back I have the original version in the Continuum stories. And I've read it in the original form. Plus, I've read it. Plus, Paul Anderson's in. Who else is in that book? Continuum. Let me see. Continuum for Anderson. Let me see.
Mr. Solomon has a
There it
really
is.
cogent observation that
Look at his
deserves to be highlighted.
You got Paul Anderson. I don't. Philip Jose Farmer. Gene Wolfe's in here too. Actually,
Those are
I don't
great.
remember Gene Wolfe being in there. But I've got this version. So this version of the story, she actually dies a horrible death at the end of it. And in the novel version, Anne McCaffrey rewrote the ending so that they have a happy romance ending instead. So
Ugh.
there you go. Yeah.
Wow, that's
Oh.
worth knowing.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah. That's mean, Mr. Solomon. That's very mean. Oh, geez. All right, number 2 will redeem me, though, guys. So you'll be okay. You'll survive once I get to number 2. But Peter's number 2 comes up first. So we're now in the number Number 2 of the top. We've gone through 50. Number 2. I've not read your number 2.
Nobody has read my number 2. If you remember it at all, it's because the book jacket had the what I always refer to as the bubbling snot thing, which is definitely a turnoff. It has nothing to do.
It does
with
look
the
like a
story.
bubbling snot.
Yeah, I used to see this when I was a kid in the library, and I would pass it by because I said any book with that cover has got to be gross. But it has nothing whatsoever to do with the story. The story is set in a dystopian civilization that's pretty much like our own. It's like a caste system with people who are educated, or like if you're a mathematician, you're always a mathematician, and you marry mathematicians. And during the course of the book, we find out that Jesus wasn't crucified; he died in the final assault of Rome by being killed by a crossbow. So people make the sign of the crossbow. The main character, Haldane 3, is a mathematician, or Haldane 4, who falls in love with a poet. And he investigates this character in the past called Fairweather, who seemed to be some kind of genius.
Hold on, we have a comment from my good friend Ethan Van Sciver, who he says, my favorite sci-fi novels are all by Patrick S. Tomlinson. I like The Ark. Is The Ark the one with Captain Kamala, the best character of all time? Captain Kamala? Yes. Thank you, Ethan.
I've got to check out this person who you refer to, this Patrick S. Tomlinson guy.
Oh, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't go down the rabbit hole, Peter.
So let me continue with the last
Sorry.
part, because I want to bait the hook. I want people to read this. So the
Yes.
Pope, the world is properly everybody's a Catholic. So it's a great story from that standpoint.
I like that. Everybody
the
should be a
Pope-
Catholic.
The Pope is a computer. Theology is a subdiscipline of cybernetics, and they send heretics to hell, which is a planet a couple of light years away. Okay, so it's so after a while you start to twig that it's an alternate history, except at the end, the main character Haldane 4 is given a time machine and the code name Judas Iscariot and sent back in time, and that's pretty much where the story ends.
Wow.
It is a funny book. There are a lot of lines in here that are hilarious. The plotting and the setting is just fits together, and you spend most of your time going. You know, he'll always have like an alt his. He'll have mention something that's just askew. Like, for example, Abraham Lincoln doesn't give the Gettysburg Address. He gives the Johannesburg Address and talks about the better lasers of our nature or something like that.
Wow.
And it's
Is it heresy, or is this alternate history when they send back in time, and it kind of implies that it changes history to get what we have today?
That's
Is that what it
exactly-
does?
That's
Okay.
it. Yeah, that's it. And Robert Heinlein gave this. He said it belongs on the same shelf with 1984 and Brave New World.
Wow.
So,
And how come nobody's heard of it? What's going on?
Nobody's ever heard of it. John Boyd, he wrote this is a pen name for somebody, and he wrote 3 science fiction stories. Well, obviously
He came up with the OODA loop? Wait, is this the same guy? The military strategist?
No, no, that's got to be somebody entirely.
Okay,
different.
that's somebody. I was like, wow, this guy's lit. But no.
Yeah, no. His real name was, I don't know, Boyd Upchurch the Third or some damn thing.
John Boyd. Okay, Boyd Bradfield
oh.
Upchurch. Yes.
This is going to make you absolutely want to go out and buy this book.
Okay.
Well, I didn't say that. Spider Robinson, however, praised the novel as delightful with rigorously consistent internal logic that doesn't really become apparent until the very last chapter. Okay, well, that's a pretty good thing. So, Joanna
Spider Robinson calls it. If Spider calls it delightful, it must be. So.
Well, and then Joanna Russ said it was a horrible book and nobody should ever read it. And if Joanna Russ, who was like the quintessential primordial feminist in science fiction, didn't like it, then that's
great.
enough of a recommendation.
That's good. That's good confirmation bias for me. So I guess I'll pick this up.
76. John F76 is asking, and this is better than A Canticle for Leibowitz?
Uh-oh.
Sure. Oh, you are
hold on.
testing
Hold on.
F-76.
Hold your
Okay.
Hold your horses, Peter.
All right.
Hold your horses.
How dare
All right. We got Jay Ishiro's number 2, which is our second Stanley Kubrick film adaptation. Peter, I desperately need water. I'm a little sick still. Can you handle the discussion on this while you get water?
Okay, sure. I can
Okay.
take it. So now that John's gone away, let's talk about John. Is anybody else disturbed by this whole turn toward singing, dancing, and horses? I am. I think the poor man needs an intervention. I think perhaps SFWA has finally broken him. Now, he's been a brave man, and we all appreciate that, but seriously, we need to do more for him. For God's sake, buy his books. Buy all of his books. Okay, so A Clockwork Orange. There was a movie, Stanley Kubrick. Hyper violence, singing in the rain, Malcolm McDowell, etc. I've never read the book. I do know though that it has it has a vocabulary, the NADSAT vocabulary, where they take Russian words and mix them with English words. So you have Chelabik, fellow NADSAT. It's teen language. Again, it's dark. It's dystopian. It's almost a homage, a nod toward cyberpunk before we had computers. So it's classic Jay Ishiro fodder. And I can see why he would put it at number 2 because, Anthony Burgess was a very literate author. And so I can see why Jay Ishiro would like this one. I probably should read it, except it seems like it would be such a downer. Movie is basically a streamlined version of the book, says JEC. I think that's probably correct. And Druga, fellows. Yes, exactly. Thank you. Rex Omnia tells us that, reminds me of that. Hello, my fellow Drugs. And Drug is Russian for fellows. I don't know about Chelovik. I don't know. Whatever. Okay, that's all I've got for you. I talk among yourselves. Let's let me suggest a theme, which is how masculine can a person be who likes singing, dancing, and horses? Work that. Make an argument for it and against it. I'd be curious to see what you all say. The milk bar where you could get milk laced with psychedelics. All right. The SFWA was. Hey, John.
Do you know who did singing, dancing, and horses the best, though? John Wayne, motherfucker. John Wayne. Okay, you can't get more masculine than that, Peter Bradley. Get off my show.
When did John Wayne sing? He was singing a song, but he never sang.
Yeah, maybe not, but yeah.
Ronald Reagan sung and danced.
That's right. Yes.
Okay, you win.
Yes. Humphrey Bogart. Yes. It is.
You had me at Ronald Reagan.
You had me at Ronald Reagan. Oh man, like I give him the show for like 2 minutes, and this is what he does to me. This is what my friends do to me. See, if my friends treat me like this is why my enemies treat me so badly. That it's just like horrific. But it's terrible. I can never win.
I filled up dead air time on a book I haven't read, so
good work.
And a movie I haven't seen. So there.
I also have not read the book. I have seen the movie, so yeah.
It just seemed very violent. Was it a very violent movie?
Yeah, it is. So, my number 2 is the most masculine book ever written, ever. And it is high T. It is the highest of T. And since you guys didn't have this up here on your list, A Princess of Mars, yes. So,
is this science fiction though? Really?
It is. It is the only science fiction that exists, as far as I'm concerned. There is no other science fiction. John Carter, a Confederate soldier, ends up getting transported to Mars, and then he beats the crap out of some aliens for a hot princess, And then he gets the pot princess, he knocks her up, and then he gets transported back to Earth. That's it.
And then he's always dreaming of getting back to the quote incomparable Deja Thoris, close quote.
Yes.
And then of course there's Arcus Jadak of Thark.
Yeah, it is most masculine and has princess in the title. It's true. So, because the dude's got to rescue the princess. What do you think happens with princesses? They need rescuing. They're damsels in distress.
I mentioned to somebody one time that this is like Edgar Rice Burroughs was. I'm going to say this. He was his books, his Martian books, were thoroughly racist in the sense of it was the yellow men of Mars, the white men of Mars, the red men of Mars, the men of Mars, etc. He wasn't
the slaver black men of Mars also. Yes.
Yeah, that's right. But he wasn't racist in the sense of what we mean by racist. But he just divided up Mars into all these different races with their own unique cultures.
Correct, and they're awesome. Every time he goes to like one of these own unique pockets of cultures, it's really cool, and they are really unique. They're really distinct. Tons of action. John Carter does just punch his way out of every situation, as a man should. It's awesome. You can't beat it. So,
you know what? This is high tea. This is totally high tea.
Yeah.
This is the most unwoke book that
it
could
is
possibly be on anybody's list
ever. Yeah. So
you've got a Confederate soldier going to Mars to rescue a princess.
Yes. That's badass. Like, I wish I came up with it.
You should carry a copy of this in your coat, and if you're beset by wokeistas, you pull
just hold it up,
Bible in front of them, and they freak.
Yeah. I'm actually going to do Jay Ishiro's #1 first, which I would have guessed anyway, to be honest. I wouldn't have guessed your book, but I would have guessed his book. It's very obvious given his predilections. Is that the right word? Proclivities. That's it. And since he's not here, we'll do his first, and then we'll discuss ours after. It's Neuromancer. The granddaddy cyberpunk book. I actually did not enjoy reading this. I found it a little bit confusing, a little bit, again, like kind of pretentious and navel-gazy. And so I'm going to just shit on Jay Ishiro's #1 because he's not here. So.
Well, I can't defend it because I've never read it. I know it's considered to be one of the greats or one of the foundational texts for cyberpunk.
Yes.
But for some reason, I've just never read it.
It hits all the tropes 100%, like before the tropes were the tropes. Like this definitely did nail all the whole corporate dystopian cyberpunk future. It's all right here. So there is that to it. I didn't have fun with it. Let's just say that. I struggle with books I don't have fun with.
Well, is the character? I remember reading a review, and the character is like a drug addict.
Yes, that bothered me too.
That usually is enough to throw me off because I don't find anything fun about drug addicts.
Me either.
They seem to be. Doesn't seem to be good. They don't seem to be happy. But
it's really negative. Yeah, the whole situation. It doesn't feel good. And I don't like a lot of. I've read a couple dystopian books. I put them on here. But if you notice, like dystopian apocalyptic universes or post-apocalyptic universe, like it was like Andre Norton's The Starman. It ends up with like some sort of like adventure or like positive look towards the future, right? And this doesn't have that. So
yeah, Boyna's Dog is definitely, it's post-apocalyptic and it's gritty and harsh and doesn't have a lot of upward swing to it at the end. Jay Ishiro's top 10.
He's pretty bleak. Yeah.
Bleak. That's right. That's a good description for it. But it's interesting to see how his interest in cyberpunk really informs his entire list, and particularly his top 10.
Yeah, mine are a little all over the map, but they're mostly kind of pulpy. I feel like. So, I don't know.
Yeah, you're surprising because you do have a range. I mean, you're going from 2001, which is
Yes.
classic literary science fiction, all the way to Edgar Rice Burroughs,
Yes.
which is as pulp as you can get, and tossing in the Crystal
Yeah.
Singer.
And tossing in the Crystal Singer just to throw a wrench in your whole like thoughts. Before we get to our number ones, everybody, again, we are promoting Overmind, my science fiction graphic novel. 46 days ago, we did get a backer on the stream, so I appreciate you guys. $15,000 and counting. I'm going to add a new stretch goal at $17,000, where I'm going to give all backers a full copy of my graphic novel, Cosmic Warrior graphic novel as a PDF, because I want you guys to read that. If you like John Carter, Cosmic Warrior was basically my John Carter in space superhero. And so I think you'll love Overmind if you like our picks. If you don't like our picks, I still think you'll love Overmind because it's a lot of fun. And just beautiful art. We got Aaron Lopresti on the cover. We got Miss Sashi right here. This is a story about an AI that is brainwashing a world, and a beautiful redhead is sent to investigate and take care of business out there. She's got a ray gun and a jetpack. What more do you need? All I want is a ray gun and a jetpack out of my life.
A beautiful pneumatic redhead.
Yes, exactly. So we drew inspiration from Flash Gordon, from Valerian and Laureline. I talk about it a lot. The Inkall, Mike Barron's Nexus, just all the great science fiction graphic novels that really don't get enough love. I feel like science fiction graphic novels in general don't get enough love. I just found out that your boy Samuel Delaney, Peter, had a science fiction graphic novel in the 70s called Empire. Are you familiar with that one?
I've heard of the name before. Yeah,
it was with Howard Chaykin, and I just discovered it. I was reading Howard Chaykin last night. I'm reading right now for those in the Peanut Gallery, Twilight, which is a science fiction trilogy of comics by Howard Chaykin. Really, really cool, bizarre stuff. Again, it's kind of in the flavor of Overmind here. So I was looking up Howard Chaykin, and I found out that he did that work for Delaney. And then I looked up Empire, and it's not been reprinted anywhere. And it is like $100 plus for that stupid graphic novel on eBay. So
it would probably
there
be
you
worth getting, because they ain't making any more of it, and it probably is. I guess you're betting on, is wokeism going to be a thing for the future? Because the more the value of that book goes up.
The more woke you get, the more NAMBLA becomes accepted. Like that just becomes like the holy grail, right?
Mm-hmm. And when the police come to kick in your door for committing heterosexual acts, you'll say, "But I've got this comic book by Samuel R. Delaney."
Yes. Who is a person of color, not a colored person. That would be offensive to say. All right. Guys, thank you for watching, everybody. This has been a lot of fun to do this list. I was going to do a top 100, but I found it too difficult to actually come up with 100 books.
I think the next one, you keep it to like 25 or something.
Well, now we can break things down. So this is what the Dice Tower does with board games. They do their top 100 board games of all time or whatever. And then they break it down into subgenres. They do it like top 10 board games that like use dice, or top, and then they top 10 board games like for 3 players that last for 3 hours, like it's like they keep breaking it down like that. So if we want to continue this series, and I don't know if people do, we can start breaking it down into top 10 space opera, or top 10 stories with redheaded heroes with big boobs, so, things like that. So it's doable, but it's something to discuss for the future. But for now, we have Peter's number 1, the end of the list. We've finally gotten there after 5 weeks of work here.
This is a
thank you, guys.
For John F76. Are you ready for this?
Yes,
John
I hope he's still in the chat.
Ta-da! A canonical for Leibowitz. The single greatest science fiction story book of all time.
False.
No, it's this book has everything. It's funny. It's got historical angles in it. It has adventure. It has intrigue. This is another after the apocalypse story when Earth has been reduced to rubble, and people have rejected science. They went around killing scientists and burning scientific
Based.
books, except for, of course, guess the Catholic Church, which did what it did during the last Dark Ages, where it preserved writing. And so the monastery of San Leibowitz has been copying and preserving scientific texts for hundreds and hundreds of years. And the book follows the story of the people living in the monastery, the monks, through 3 different epochs. Basically, the early days, circa, it would be like the Dark Ages for us, to the Renaissance for us, to modernity for us. And this is the monastery is like in Arizona or New Mexico. So it's recreating civilization from around Texas to New Mexico. And so it's a heavily Catholic book, and it's filled with a lot of Catholic, a Catholic sense of history.
You sold me on a heavily Catholic book. That sounds great.
It's a heavily Catholic book. It's also got Miller has the ability to turn out some phrases that will stick with you. Here's a couple. He goes, one of them, quote, "You don't have a soul, doctor. You are a soul. You have a body temporarily." You can use that in your arguments with atheists. Another one, "It never was any better. It never will be any better. It will only be richer or poorer, sadder, but not wiser until the very last day." Another one, "Like any wise ruler, Abbot Arkos did not issue orders vainly. When to disobey was possible and to enforce was not possible, it was better to look the other way than to command ineffectually." And so it's got some great things. When you're reading it, you go, that's true. Here's the last paragraph of the last book, where unfortunately humanity recreates the nuclear age and recreates all the problems of the nuclear age, leading to another blow up. But fortunately, the church is able to take monks from the monastery of San Leibowitz and put them on a spaceship for another planet to restart on another world the church and Western civilization. And here's the last paragraph. Quote, "A wind came across the ocean, sweeping with it a pail of fine white ash. The ash fell into the sea and into the breakers. The breakers washed dead shrimp ashore with the driftwood. Then they washed up the whiting. The shark swam out to his deepest waters and brooded in the cold, clean currents. He was very hungry that season." And so Miller had a nice way with words. It's an enjoyable book. It's a book where there's a scene in the early one with the monk who rediscovers that Saint Leibowitz's wife died so that he could be made a saint. And he's in the desert. He's not eating. He's fasting, all the rest of that type of thing. And he's contemplating. He wants to be a scholar, but he says to himself, maybe he's like the cat who wanted to be an ornithologist but was merely called to be an ornithage. And I often think that myself. I think, maybe I'm not called to be this. Maybe I'm just called to be what I am. So it's a wonderful book. It's well written. It's a classic. I recommend it heartily. Obviously, at number 1 on my list. There you go. Did I lose you, JDA? And now notice what I'm interested in ideas. I'm interested in philosophy.
No, this seems very cool. So it seems very based picked as the chat says.
Yeah.
And I need to read this apparently. So
well, I was going to say, notice how my books tend toward the Catholic end of the spectrum and
yes.
the religious end of the spectrum. So that's my knee jerk. So
that's good. That's why we have you on the show. So
yes,
good stuff.
JEC is correct.
Cool. Well, do you know my number 1 by omission at this point?
Boy, can you give me a hint? Who have I missed?
There's a book we've referenced several times in towards my shaming you for not having it in your top 10, And then, of course, J.E. Shiro had it in his top 10. And then, yes.
I think, and I can't argue with I really can't argue with this selection. Take it away.
All right. Yes, my friends, The Moon is a Harsh Mistress by Robert Heinlein. So, yeah, and I've highlighted the negatives of it when other people are speaking about this book, but, like, I mean, it really is just, like, such a beautiful book. It covers the American Revolution in space so well, and you get to these points where they, you know, they're founding their government, and you know, the guy talks about, like, you know, you only need a few simple rules. Like, you know, what happens when governments get too bloated is they come up with a bunch of little rules that basically go over what the big ones talked about to begin with. So let's keep it as simple as possible. And you just sit there and you're cheering for it at that point because, you know, Earth is so oppressive. Their government is so oppressive. It's kind of like our government right now. They're so oppressive. And you just want to shed the shackles of that and build something new. And you're rooting for these heroes the entire time. And just absolutely well done. This really is Small Government Philosophy, the book. And it does it so much better than Atlas Shrugged ever could, to be honest, because Heinlein can actually write. That's the difference.
You know, this book, like I said, I probably read it 5 or 6 times before I was 18. And this really was the foundation of my political philosophy going into college and law school and thereafter. And it's not really a libertarianism, but it's a small government philosophy. And the idea is you hand it over to somebody else, they're going to screw it up. They're going to make life. Here's the interesting thing. The Moon is a Harsh Mistress and Stranger in a Strange Land are set in the same universe.
Yes.
Yes.
Kind of. You know,
kind of.
like...
Jubal Harthaw mentions something about the lunar ambassador and makes some mention that seems to tie it in to The Moon is a Harsh Mistress.
Yeah, I mean, he does that whole future history universe thing. It's iffy. I mean, the continuity of this stuff really doesn't work that well to me. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. But there are, you know, a lot of these are just great books by themselves. You don't have to have continuity. Everybody and their mother now wants to have especially with Brandon Sanderson's influence, wants to have this like loose continuity between all their books. And I actually get asked to do that myself. Like people have asked me if like Overmind is in the same universe as Flying Sparks, my superhero. It's like, well, I mean, I could do that, but like, why? Like, it doesn't need to be. You know, I mean, when you have a future and then you have a present, you could have that tie together. And DC and Marvel try to do that with their comics. They try to put everything in the same universe, and that it's a marketing / sales tactic, I think, more than it is usually best for the stories. And so I don't buy it. I kind of ignore that whole future history.
But the Moon is a Harsh Mistress and the other one, Stranger in a Strange Land, are not in his future history stories.
They are though, aren't they?
I don't know. No, they're not, because in his future history stories, you have a theocracy that develops around, I don't know, 1980 or something like that, and you definitely don't get that in these books. But the funny that Heinlein didn't start off with the idea of writing a future history. He just had this story and that story and some other story,
right.
And then he kind of just started putting them together. You know,
correct.
And then the other thing authors want to do is they'll make some allusion in one book, and then they think, well, I'm going to work that one out. So they're not doing the same story over and over again. Like Revolt in 2100 is totally different than, let's say, Methuselah's Children, which are nominally in the same universe, right? They are in the same universe, I think. But
they definitely are, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Lazarus Long goes off planet during that era and that type of thing. So, yeah.
Cool. Well, I like this way better than any of that stuff anyway. I think this is a much better book than all of those.
I can't argue putting it number one, honestly. I think A Canonical deserves it, perhaps on literary quality but it is a heavily Catholic book, so it appeals to me. It's my best book.
I have not read it, but I'm sure it will appeal to me when I do read it, and I'll put that high on the list because it's your number one after all.
Check it out.
So,
check it out. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I think that's it, everybody. Thank you for tuning in these last 5 weeks. Peter, do you got anything to add?
Thanks for listening, everyone. I think I got a lot out of the comments. I mean, the comments here have been incredibly educational.
We have the smartest chat out of like anybody out there, in a very well-read chat. It's really awesome. And so thank you guys for just being you and being a part of this. We appreciate your adding to the discussion for sure. And I'll be back with drama tomorrow. Drama and science fiction and comic books, because that is what sells. Oh man, I'm so sick. It's been a terrible week. I don't have COVID. Again, I've not gotten it, but I just I've got another whatchamacallit, like just cold or whatever it is. I'm trying to fight through it. Ooh, the 50 worst science fiction novels of all time. That's an interesting idea. I could do 10 maybe.
10, yeah. I think 50 would just be like hitting yourself in the head with a rock.
Yeah, I'd rather kill myself than read 50 bad books. I could think about 10. I'll discuss it with the lads. It's pretty fun. Maybe it's monkeypox. So thank you, everyone. Back Overmind is the whole point of this list, and that's all you guys need to know. You could ignore all these books because Overmind's going to be better. That's all. That's a bold statement.
Who does the Terra Prime Empire call when they've got some dirty work? Special Agent Ayla Rin has accepted a simple reconnaissance mission that quickly evolves into a planet-hopping adventure. And she finds herself at the bottom of a mystery that could end her very life.
We are the Overmind.